we were working in Asheville, North Carolina with the Speer family. And they had a group on there that's kind of a territorial, would you say, marginal? Regional, that's something like that. And their name was the family. And if there's anybody in here knows them or are related to them, tell me now so I won't go through with this story.
Now you know that you have got in trouble with this type of situation.
So they were working Asheville, and I think he was a bass singer, but he was blind as a bat. I mean, literally, like Gordon Moe, he couldn't see. But there's other ways that he was not like Gordon Moe. One of them was called talent. They were working the Asheville program with us and the Speer Chunkles. And they got there and they realized that they had forgot the bass singer's coat. And mind you, he can't see a lick. So somebody went down to a Salvation Armory or something like that to pick the boy. We called him 2020, and I guess that was wrong of us. We called him 2020. They went down to pick him up a coat to wear, and they come and brought him that coat, and it would have probably been too long for J.D. Sumner. You couldn't have rolled them sleeves up enough to make it short enough. Way down here, they went on stage and did a program with 2020 wearing that coat, and they had a song. We used to do a song that the boys did called "Go Out to the Program." Well, they had this song where they would kind of mimic other groups, and they'd go out and say, "Oh, Speer family, are you ready to answer your call?" And what the Speer family supposed to go out there? And tell them what happened.
So, we both went to Greenville, South Carolina. And Oak Ridge made it up to get 2020 to come on stage with us while we were out there being serious. So he comes out and stands behind us playing that guitar. And then some of the Hovey Lister had a brother who was a policeman.
Jack.
And so he arranged to have, was his name Jack?
Jack Lister.
Yeah, Jack Lister. Stand backstage and then go up with a buddy, another policeman, and they just carried 2020 off the stage.
These are true stories. One time we all worked Greenville for the Thanksgiving broadcast or whatever. Us and the Speer Chunkers and maybe another unit or two, all sacred acts. So, anyhow, I had just bought, with the help of 3 or 4 banks, I had just bought a new Cadillac. Sky blue, prettiest thing you ever saw in your life. And had it over in Greenville for this, must have been a Saturday night singing. Had it parked outside a little motel right by the auditorium. And after the broadcast was over, there's a little Waffle House type place, something like that we'd always go and congregate and after the broadcast, okay? So this one, on his way out, he knew it was my car, so on his way out, he takes a full can of shaving lather and just completely all over my brand new car. Baby blue, brand new Cadillac. I had no doubt who did it. So they had already gone into the little restaurant and sat down and was ordering, you know, and I go out and said something, how's your car? So I got looking, I discovered what's been done to my car. And I came back in and I'll go right back to my table and they're looking at me, you know, and I say, how's that car? I said, fine, man. Doing okay? Yeah, it's great. Anything wrong with it? No, you ought to drive it. I didn't let on anything, okay? We all left there, and they were fortunate enough to have a Sunday night date at the Grand Ole Opry, Sunday night opera in Nashville. And we knew that we were off, so I had to go see them. So there was a bait shop between where I lived and the Ryman Auditorium. So I stopped and I got 24 live crickets. And I drive up in the parking lot of the Ryman Auditorium, and I could hear them in there just having a really good time. Probably one of the others are doing the lead song. And I just drove up by the bus, slid the door back, took 24 crickets and just dumped them in the bus and shut the door and went on in and enjoyed the program. I bet there's some of them still in that bus. Sure, right there. Had no doubt as to who did it. Another time, you want to say something?
Yeah. Just this past weekend, I was up in Illinois and afterwards I went in a truck stop and sat down in a booth, and just across the aisle from me was a woman who had a full neck brace. I mean, she just couldn't, barely eat. And then I got to thinking about one night, about 20 years before that, before now, we played Peoria, Illinois with the Oak Ridge Boys. I don't know where we were the night before, but we traveled all night and got into the hotel and went inside, and there Willie sat in the coffee shop with that neck brace on. Well, what happened to you, Willie? Well, he had some cock and bull story about what happened to his neck or whatever, And he wore that thing all day long until 5 seconds before they went on stage, and he unbuckled it and threw it down, and there wasn't a thing wrong with it.
And you feeling sorry for it.
So I had to pick up the phone right then and call him and tell him about this woman that was there with the neck brace. So.
Anybody remember J. Basil Mull?
Yeah.
Okay, he was a huge promoter and preacher in the Knoxville area. Rich. I mean, he was rich. Lord, he was rich. Him and Lady Mull had all kinds of things going. And he couldn't see. I mean, he could see an image, but he certainly couldn't tell what it was. But if he knew where he walked up on a stage, he'd know where to come back and get off of that stage. Well, this little wormy wonder.
Wasn't me.
Yes, it was. Mull, Dr. Mull, Reverend Mull, bless his heart, hey, Doc, he said, holy. Anyhow, he goes up and announces somebody. Well, while he's up there, this one moved the steps.
He took the orchestra pit down, didn't you, Ben?
No, different time. Yes, you did. You're a liar and the truth ain't in you. And so Mull, knowing where he was supposed to come off that stage, he did, but not by way of the steps. Wow. Anyhow, you want to hear some more?
I didn't do it.
After Papa Speer died, he died first. Yeah. And everybody absolutely adored those people. And Brock. That's about as far as it went. But, anyhow, after Papa died, Mama would travel for a while, but then she stayed at home a weekend or whatever. Somebody come up and want to know what had happened to Mom's Speer. And I said, you ain't hurt? She ran off with the driver of a Budweiser truck. Now, Mom Speer wouldn't let her even spell Budweiser. And they believed it. We had a bus driver one time that had a heart attack. No, before he had the heart, when he first came with us, we told him we got a new bus driver And he is terrific. You won't believe him. Because back then everybody had bus drivers. And I said, he's got a little bit of a problem. I said, he's deaf, he can't hear. He's deaf and dumb, he can't hear and he can't talk. Is it deaf and dumb or? Deaf mute, yeah. And they said, well, how in the world could he possibly drive a bus? I said, he's got that sixth sense about him. He knows if there's something coming, he knows it. The vibrations, yeah. And I said, in the transmission, knows when to change the gears and all of that stuff. Well, how? I said, well, he just does it. And so they rode with us a while. And we'd walk up behind this bus driver and him too. And of course, naturally he was in on it. You got to go, honey? Well, come and give me a hug, Lord, child. Y'all bear with us a minute. Next time you don't have to yourself.
It's got caller ID, that's the reason we put it on there.
I went out to a restaurant in Hendersonville and to meet Willie, and Summer came out and visited with us a little bit, and she left, and I turned to Willie and I said, Willie, what would you say if I asked Summer out? He said, I'll kill you.
That's a fact.
I don't know,
Tell
but
about the bus, damn dumb bus driver.